It's 18 hours Greenwich Meridian time. This is News Tonight. My name is Emmanuel, Agyabeng, making up our headlines this evening. Minister designate for Communications, Technologies and Innovations, Samuel George, hints at legislation to tackle fake news as canker creeps into proceedings of Parliament.
The ministry will be coming again to deal with the issues of mis and disinformation with legislation to this House. And I will urge members of Parliament to support it.
Away from matters of law, we head to education, and here IFES supports government's decision to transition from teacher trainee allowances to an enhanced student loan scheme, describing it as timely and progressive. Also coming up, we have reactions to government's reduction of Hajj fees from 75,000 Ghana cedis to 62,000 Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, chairman of the Hajj task force reveals previous MPP government left a debt of 81,000 Ghana cedis from past Hajj trips.
The fare for the 2025 Hajj, 62,000 Ghana cedis.
Later in business, rise in inflation, high interest rates and persistent currency depreciation create a challenging environment for investors and businesses, according to Deloitte's 2024 Economic Outlook report on the fund. On the foreign front, we will bring you the story of Palestinians and Arab states rejecting Trump's Gaza takeover proposal. The details of these stories and many others coming up shortly. Stick and stay with us here on News Tonight. Many thanks for tuning into the bulletin this evening. We begin with our biggest story on Insight. The Minister Designate for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations, Samuel George, has hinted of legislation to tackle the growing menace of misinformation as the canker has started creeping into the law-making chamber. Earlier, we saw some indications showing that some members of Parliament had used and relied on the premise of false news to make allegations on the floor of the House. But Samuel George has hinted of legislation to crack the whip on persons who use such matters and such information which are not accurate in the public eye to peddle their own selfish gains. We have a report on that.
During the approval of President John Dramani Mahama's nominees in Parliament, a dramatic turn of events unfolded. The day started with the lifting of the suspension of minority members, but things took a darker turn when an MP referred to his colleague as a daughter of a murderer.
Daughter of murderer, sit down. Daughter of murderer, sit down.
Just as it seemed the drama was subsiding, another controversy emerged. Former Lands Minister Samuel Abujinapo accused newly approved Communications Minister Sam George of watching an explicit content during parliamentary proceedings.
Yes, but once at it, the Honorable Sam George, as an elder of the Perez Chapel, not a member, as an elder of the Perez Chapel, and as somebody who espouses his Christian values, should also be mindful of what he watches when he's in Parliament. He should be mindful of that as well, especially when serious business is being conducted in the House.
He was forced to withdraw his statement after it was drawn to his attention that a said image was jotted.
It's not verified. This is a statement coming from the majority leader that it is not verified. To that extent, I unreservedly withdraw and apologize to my brother Sam George. No difficulty with that.
This This rather disturbing incident raised alarming concerns, marking the second time in just a week that fake news has compromised the integrity of Parliament. Last week, social activist Oliver Bakavomawo was hauled before the Appointments Committee on the back of some allegations he made against chairman of the committee and other members in relation to bribery of the committee. This was, however, found out to be equally a false artwork put in circulation.
We'll go straight to the second, particularly to the second statement allegedly posted by him, and clearly state that that statement is fake. He never wrote that statement. He never uttered that statement. He never posted that statement.
My picture, his picture, is placed there, and there is a statement, and there is Oliver Bakavomawo drops bombshell, and he is not the author of it. We need to get to the root of it to clear our image, and whoever is responsible for this allegation should be brought to book.
The spread of misinformation has been a worrying trend which began from the public space and now found its way to the forecourt of Parliament. As the Minister Designates for Communications, Sam George, has vowed to put an end to the era of misinformation and fabricated lies, pledging to tighten regulations on such illegal conduct in the coming weeks. The question remains, will the ministry's effort be enough to eradicate this threat once and for all, or will the public continue to witness repetitions of such incidents?
The questions indeed remain. From victim, will he be victor? But Minister Designate for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel George, as well, who doubles as a Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampam, has urged Parliament to take a firm stance against those who are responsible for spreading malicious and defamatory content, warning that such smear campaigns and falsehoods would not be tolerated. The Minister Designate emphasized the importance of cracking down on those behind disinformation, calling for swift consequences for anyone involved in these damaging lies.
Mr. Speaker, the ministry will be coming again to deal with the issues of mis and disinformation with legislation to this House. And I will urge members of Parliament to support it. Because, Mr. Speaker, even in this chamber yesterday, there was misinformation. In fact, in the past 1 week, this House has carried out business on 2 occasions on the back of misinformation. The Appointments Committee of Parliament had to deal with an issue of mis and disinformation when it invited Oliver Bakavomawo, because there was no authentication of what the committee put before him as his own post. Meanwhile, it was doctored. Yesterday, the Honourable Member for Damongo, Honourable Abu Jinapo, made reference to a photo that had been altered and digitally created on the floor of this House. It's important that we take misinformation and disinformation seriously and deal with it once and for all, and crack the whip and make sure that persons who are actively engaged in this face the full rigors of the law. And Mr. Speaker, with your support as Minister, we will bring legislation to deal with it.
Still in Parliament earlier today, the committee tasked to investigate the Appointments Committee's chaos during the vetting of Minister Designates in Parliament came to an abrupt halt due to a directive from the Speaker, Alban Suman Kingsford Bagman, to suspend sitting indefinitely. This unexpected brief call-off was witnessed when Clark, who suffered some verbal outbursts from Minority Leader Alexander Afenya-Mike, was testifying before the investigative committee. Let's more on the following report.
That doesn't happen, and as you can see, it's a tug of war. Tomorrow,
the committee probing the Appointment Committee chaos in Parliament began its hearings today, February 5, 2025. The 7-member committee, which is chaired by the Whole West MP Emmanuel saw witnesses come before the committee to share first-hand accounts of the incident. The first to appear before the committee to testify was the Majority Leader, Mahama Ayariga, who gave his account of what happened.
There was resistance that, according to them, Honorable Nitu tried to convince his side to accede to the plea by the majority side to add the nominee for the Ministry of Transport. And so ultimately they agreed. And that was the nomination that I came and met. But towards the end, they have seen that the majority side is parading 2 additional nominees. And those were Akando and then Honorable Ablakwa. And that they were not going to entertain the nomination of these 2 other, the version of these 2 other nominees. And I had their side. So I tried to speak to the chairman and then the majority side. They also indicated that there was no agreement to vet only 3 people.
Gavin Saguja cited the appearance of Oliver Baka Vomawo before the appointment committee as a leading factor to the chaos.
Though a number of colleagues were scheduled to be vetted, there was a decision to bring in Mr. Vomawo to appear before the appointment committee. It meant that all colleagues who were scheduled to appear on the Wednesday on the master list or master program couldn't be vetted. So it meant that all who actually were supposed to be vetted on the Wednesday have to be shifted to the Thursday. So originally, Honorable Blackwell was supposed to be vetted on the Thursday. So if anybody says Honorable Blackwell was being smuggled into Thursday, that is not true. He was originally supposed to be vetted on the Thursday.
Chair of the appointment committee, Bernard Ahiafo, also appeared before the special committee to share his first-hand experience of the issue. He accused the minority of having a posture of refuting vetting process from Tuesday to Thursday, the fateful day the chaos ensued.
On that Tuesday, what we agreed upon, was it a Wednesday or Tuesday? Tuesday before Mr. Vomawa on Wednesday. Okay. When we even resumed sitting, you could see the posture of the minority whip that we will not continue the vetting, banging the table. We will not continue the vetting that day. I employ the committee members to look at the proceedings on that Tuesday. Now at conclave, we agree that Wednesday we'll deal with the issue pertaining to Oliver Baker Vomawa. Then thereafter, we'll continue to do vetting. Again, the posture from the minority side was that Wednesday, there will be no vetting on Wednesday. Life is all about give and take. As a result, we are not able to vet any nominee on Wednesday.
Minister for Tourism and Creative Arts, Ablajifa Gomashi, also appeared before the committee, citing the total disrespect and attack on a clerk of the parliament, followed by Al-Hassan Umar. Ending the exercise was the woman at the receiving end of Alexander Afenyomaken's verbal outburst, the clerk of the appointment committee, Gifty Jagegoba.
Unfortunately, scenes that we do not expect to be happening at the legislature, but quite unfortunately just well, is the matter of fake news that we see evidence in proceedings in the lawmaking chamber. We are now going to be joined by lead and program director of Fact Check Ghana, which works under the Media Foundation for West Africa, Kweku Krobia Asante, joins me via Zoom. Kweku, many thanks for your time this evening. I want us to look at this matter in twofold. First, government, we have seen very punishment meted out to people who are found in the acts in this particular menace. Which one has failed us as a country? The Verify First programs or the legislation?
Well, thank you in regards to everybody who's watching me. I do not think that any of the two has brought up any meaningful impact as it's supposed to be. Let me start with Verify First from the previous government. It was just a campaign, I think. I dare say even a social media campaign, maybe some other traditional media campaigns about the importance of verifying information or the dangers of false information. But really, I do not think that if you want to address a problem that is a social problem like misinformation, disinformation, it is just a social media campaign or some radio or TV campaign that can deal with the problem. The previous government, I remember, for instance, had some misinformation. That action plan, the last I checked, was supposed to be with cabinet that they were looking at it. Nothing was done about it. That action plan proposed very actionable steps for long-term impact on fighting disinformation, media information literacy, digital media information literacy, building capacities, of people from grassroots level, from schools through communities and all that, and things like that. And in fact, having civil society working in regulatory bodies, form groups to deal with this issue, but we didn't see the light of day. Then, so really, doing just the social media work of Verify First did not bring so much impact. Then on the side of law, as I had mentioned earlier, Ghana currently does not have any legal framework that addresses the problem of misinformation, disinformation pertaining to its context and its currency. And I'm emphatic on the point of its context and currency. Currently, we have Section 208 of the Criminal Offences Act talking about the fear and panic. So people who share false information, knowing that the information they are sharing is false, and causes fear and panic and can be dealt with that law. This is a 1960 law. Then there's the Electronic Communications Act, Article 74 and 76, which is also a 2008 law talking about people sharing false information through the broadcasting platform. Now, all these laws were set up years before even the first. Look, the Criminal Offences Act 1960 came into being when internet has not even come into play. Then the Electoral Communications Act 2008, was passed even before Facebook, was set up. And here we are today. We are talking about the decentralized social web. We are talking about extended reality, the X-House. We are talking about generative AI in all its forms, generative AI being used at industrial level. These are problems that as a country we need to sit down to say there is a new problem on our hands and let us look at it holistically. How are we going to address it? Those laws and those Verify First has not helped us entirely. If you're asking for my assessment, really that is it.
Could you make mention of a national action plan that with the previous government nearly made to cabinet as per what you were told? In that action plan, is there a provision in there that looks at employing fact checkers in Ghana's parliament? Because it is scandalous that a member of parliament should be relying on fake news, a parliament letterhead to be issued to summoning the person on the premise of a fake news. I don't think it augurs well for our democracy.
I think that Parliament is just one of the areas where disinformation can be employed. By the way, the data on perpetrators of spreading false information point to the fact that politicians are the worst, perpetrators of this game. So it is not surprising that it is showing up in Parliament where you have employed widely, having its impact in one way or the other on the outcome of the elections, and people thought about many other things. I am the least surprised that we are seeing this in Parliament. I think it is just a way of prompting them to know that we must look at this problem and deal with it head on. So the National Action Plan, as you asked, really looked at a holistic or a comprehensive plan where we're bringing together fact checkers, civil society organizations working on information integrity and information resilience, the regulatory bodies also coming into play, and many other organizations, so that we can all begin to work together. FACTEC has been given the support to look at some of these matters and provide accurate facts on them. It from school so that when as they grow they are conscious from school so that when as they grow they are conscious of the issues, how they can verify information, bringing in communities and all that. I think it was our best attempt as the country stands now on dealing with the problem, but really it didn't see the light of day, and I think this is a matter that needs to be re-looked at. But there's also the bigger issue of the mainstream media also being a partaker of these conversations. I'm pretty sure this false information thing that came up to Parliament, some radio stations or TV stations would have also picked this false flyer and be discussing it. Brings in the question of what ethical and professional standards are we looking at, even for the TV and radio stations. Today we have people broadcasting on satellite TV stations somewhere in the United States, but you scan your TV and you have them on and they are spreading blatant lies, black and white smear campaigns at people, pure insult. We have not been able to deal with that because a broadcasting bill that was supposed to help us deal with these issues, has been on the shelves of Parliament for many years and it's collecting dust. We need to look at these issues, perhaps even starting from that angle before we begin to look at the decentralized social media web and see how we are going to deal with it. I think the mainstream media who are owned by politicians who are being used as a weapon to spread disinformation. Then we can pick it up from there and say, let us also come to social media, because dealing with social media can be very tricky, and across the world, the responsibility is often placed at the feet of the platform owners and not necessarily even on the people who are on the platforms who are sharing false information, because the platform owners have a higher responsibility of regulating content or controlling the platform so that it does not become a weapon for spreading hate speech and creating chaos in society.
Thank you so much for speaking with us here. Let's begin with the passage of the broadcasting bill. That's where we start from, and that is the kicker to ensuring that misinformation and false news spread is dealt with to its core. Thursday in Parliament, a distasteful comment was made, and this comment saw MP for Corley. Distasteful comment was made, and this comment saw MP for Corley Zaneto Rollins being described as a daughter of a murderer. Many MPs heard the comment, saw it, but as of today, no one has owned up to identify the maker of that particular comment. Will it be one of those mysteries we will never get to unravel? My colleague Awisi Dede Jange. Those mysteries we will never get to unravel. My colleague Awisi Dede Jange has more on this.
Rather unfortunate, would you agree? Hold on, here is what I'm talking about.
Daughter of Medra, sit down. Daughter of Medra, sit down. It's me. That's evidence.
No one was pleased, will be pleased, or should be pleased upon hearing that. But who said that? Social media commentary lays the blame on former Lands Minister Samuel Abujinapo, an accusation he flatly denies.
It's totally false. I did not even follow the proceedings which is supposed to have emanated into these very unfortunate statements. I have a lot of respect for him, and I have a lot of respect for his family, particularly his daughter, an honorable member of Parliament, Dr. Senator Rollins, and I will never utter such words.
So who uttered those words? A further probe into the CCTV footage of that day as to whether we will ever find out the culprit. Time will tell. For GHOne News, I am Awisi Dede Jange.
We end inside with the biggest question. Would we ever find out who made that particular comment? And that's our biggest story for the night. You're still watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. We turn our focus now to matters on education, and here are the Institute for Education Studies, IFEST, says they fully support the government's decision to transition from teacher trainee allowances to an enhanced student loan scheme, viewing it as a timely and progressive step toward improving education financing in Ghana. In a meeting with leadership of the National Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education here in Accra, Minister of Education and the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, announced the plans of transitioning to a loan scheme while he allayed fears of an outright cancellation of the allowance. But in a statement, the Institute for Energy Studies welcomed the announcement, stating that the move will provide a unique opportunity for Ghana to tackle with the challenges within the education sector. Excerpts of the statement on your screen. Now, the government's decision to replace teacher trainee allowances with an enhanced student loan scheme is timely and progressive, especially as removing the guarantor requirements has nearly doubled the number of recipients from 30,000 to 58,000 since 2022. And that's IFES making this very first point. The second one, they are making this particular demand that on matters of automatic posting of teachers, the government should not only transition to the loan scheme but also end the automatic posting of teachers from colleges of education. They say it limits competitiveness, creates staffing imbalances and burdens the public payroll. They are urging for a need-based recruitment system which would better match teacher supply with demand of the country. This is what the second point they're making on consolidation of financing agencies. They're saying government should consolidate the primary student financing agencies into a single efficient entity, as the current fragmented approach wastes resources. They believe a unified system would enhance efficiency and improve financial support for students. They have also congratulated the Planning Committee for the National Education Forum and believes this presents a rare opportunity to address Ghana's education sector challenges. We are now speaking now to the Executive Director of IFES, Dr. Peter Anti. IFES released a statement making the calls for these particular reforms. Dr. Anti, many thanks for your time this evening. I want us to begin with a point that Haruna Idrisu makes, MP, on the matter of the transition to the loan scheme. He says that it won't be imminent. It won't just be now. They would go through a particular process to get there. The teacher trainees do not have the understanding yet why they should move from that particular platform to a loan scheme. How best do the Ministry of Education sink down the thoughts to these teacher trainees on this matter?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. I think that yes, this is supposed to go through a series of consultations, and it should be introduced gradually and rolled out into the system. I believe that we have to do it in such a way that maybe if we are starting next academic year, the continuing students will continue to receive their loans, whilst receive the allowances, while those who will be admitted into the first year would now start assessing the loans, and then it gradually phases out for the rest of the years that are left. So I think that is how it's supposed to be carried out. I think that the teacher trainee should understand that the system that we are in now, with they doing degree programs, it is just right that they are supposed to receive the same amount of money, or they are treated the same way as those who are in the universities. And I think that should be the best way to go. That will give them the opportunity to be treated as tertiary education students. The practice of feeding them, and for me, giving them some sort of prescriptions in terms of what to wear, how to keep your hair, when to sleep, when to wake up. All these things are not elements of tertiary education students. But of course, whilst you are being given loans whilst you are being fed, then you would have whilst you are being given allowances and you are being fed, then you would have no choice than to be treated this way. So removing the allowance would give them some leverage in terms of how they will also carry themselves on campus and how they will be able to do their activities. And I think that is something that they should embrace. The allowance the allowance money is not enough, but when they are giving the loans, I know that the loan will be an enhanced form, so the money would be increased and it will be disbursed at times that they really need it before school reopening, so that they get the money to rent the accommodation, pay for their school fees, and do the necessary things that they need to do. These are things that they should embrace, and I think that with proper explanation and communication, we'll be able to deal with this.
Tanti, thank you so much for your thoughts on this particular matter. He is the Executive Director for IFAS, the Institute for Education Studies. Meanwhile, the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana, they have rejected calls for a student loan policy. They are advocating rather for an increase in their allowances from 400 Ghana cedis to 800 Ghana cedis. President of the Teacher Trainees Association, Razak Swale, speaking on Star News, stated teacher trainees are not ready for the students' loan system. He would join me shortly on this particular matter on phone. Razak Swale, he is the president of the Teacher Trainees Association. Before we engage him, let's take a look at this slide.
We should be calm and at the same time, speaking to myself as Mike, we will also work very speedily to make sure that results are released very, very speedily. Again, I'll say that results are being released, okay? So I would have thought that those who have 5 years released, somehow will have a few of them, or some of them say that, oh yes, I mean, we have had our results released, whether it's cancelled or released, so that the picture is not created. So we are working, but again, you may not be able to release everybody's results at a go. We should be careful from a narrow context. This whole picture that is created as if an entity or why church does not want people to move on. Look, WIAC is representing all of us. Just that the media is representing us to get out information to us. WIAC also is representing all of us to assess people and to determine that people are deserving of A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. If we are not careful and we make this whole thing a sensational thing of parents marching up, books marching up, and lawyers going to court and all that, we miss the point. And I think that we should raise the discussion above the discussion to this whole issue of our education assessment and whether or not persons who are not deserving of grace should be given, and balance it, of course, with what time frame WIAC should work within that is appropriate for good job. That is my take on it. I think we should be very careful with this whole thing. Parents, students, and media, and WIAC, all of us should be careful and do a good job of it.
So earlier we engaged Dr. Peter Anti on the matters of the teacher trainee allowances, where he makes the point that the teacher trainee should understand this particular call for a shift to a loan scheme. According to him, that they are seeking to be treated like persons in the tertiary education facilities in the country where people are also taught teaching. He believes that with the removal of the allowances within the creation of a loan scheme, it allows them to be put on the same pedestal. He believes that a need-based financing, that is with this institution IFAS, a need-based financing agreement rather, where we give people loans and not based on just trying to motivate them to go to school, helps unlock resources for other sectors of education where we are lacking. We'll bring you a conversation shortly on concerns that is growing among parents and vendors around the Nima cluster of schools here in Accra on a matter that is troubling them, and we will bring you that particular short conversation rightly after this break.
At the heart of the community is heavy
and vendors around the Nima cluster of schools in the Accra. They are urging authorities to take immediate action to safeguard children from the busy roads. With children as young as 4 years old walking to attend to schools in the area, parents are calling on the government, private institutions and NGOs to construct speed ramps or walkovers to protect students. Khadija Aidi has more on this report.
At the heart of the community is heavy traffic usually surrounding the Nima cluster of schools, where children are seen crossing busy roads alone without looking for approaching vehicles. This has sparked fear among parents and vendors who worry about the danger of accidents. Vendors and parents say although a security person at the school tried to assist students in crossing, it is nearly impossible for one person to provide adequate supervision for an entire school. These concerned parents and vendors are calling on the authorities to be proactive, citing the Medina Adenta tragedy as a painful reminder of what could occur if the situation is not addressed soon. Khadija Edis report for GHOne TV.
Kids in general are to be protected by laws all over the world. In Ghana, we have the Children's Act that protects children, etc. And incidentally, district assemblies are supposed to protect children within their jurisdiction. So I think the district assembly, they have guards, city guards for Accra Metropolitan Assembly and other assemblies. They should employ those guards so that they will be stationed at schools to help children cross the streets.
Me feel bad ama nkola no say because omo nkola mutumi omo nyo bi ma wanso mo anchola rekwana e bia ka betimi abowo enti me da me nyanka ya nyate say police for na say ada na say security na say guard boys bi na ka omo gina ho say be bia nkola no twemu eni mpenifo na ka nkola no betwemu na onyo mu ntwemu.
Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has assured the people of the Western region that his government will complete the stalled €48 million Takrady Market Circle project, which began in the 2020 administration. The project which has stalled under the previous administration. He says that during his thank you tour in the 2nd D at the Methodist Park, Mahama bemoaned the current state of the project and reaffirmed his commitment to revitalizing it.
Medalbia say na ene muhu ya ha na yenkura no bone yenim se oka Takrady a ene only market circle only Takrady only market circle enti yenim se ejumi bebi edru a aka eyade a oyo haw e mata Takrady fo nyina enti ene yeba se yene ahemfo ne Takrady fo nyina be hia ne adamu ase ene adepa moye maaye abatu onim na ansa ne yebekwa kodi se ejuma no na me se e o se me behwe market circle na mene contractor for no kasa ne nhwe kwan a yebetimi afa so na ejuma no atoado na yetimi awie na Takrady fo enya homfa so enti yabehwe ni na o ma kyerɛkyerɛ ye bibia mu enti yesa konkran Friday a ebe yene contractor for no any Minister of Finance betnase Niashe Enshisha Yabeye Senobeya Yabetimi Atwa Ejumano so. It is a Nyami Aduma Enchebia contractor no any Ejuma for Ombesaba na Omabetua Ejumano so. Na Takrady for Enya Ejano Faso.
The government has announced a significant reduction in Hajj fares from 75,000 Ghana cedis to 62,000 for the 2025 annual pilgrimage to Mecca in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is in fulfillment of President John Dramani Mahama's campaign promise to make Hajj affordable for the Muslim community during the 2024 electioneering campaign. GHOne News' Abdul Hanan Adam has more on the following report.
Hajj, One of the 5 pillars of Islam is obligatory for Muslims who are physically and financially capable of undertaking the journey. The recent fare reduction of 17.33% offers significant relief for prospective pilgrims, making the sacred journey more affordable. Alhaji Collins Dauda, chairman of the Hajj Task Force and member of parliament for Esutifi South, at a press briefing in Accra stated that the decrease of 13,000 Ghana cedis alleviates financial pressure and will allow more individuals to embark on the pilgrimage.
President Mama has been able to honor this commitment. The task force has successfully secured a significant reduction in the Hajj Fare for 2025. Upon the advice of the President, the fare for the 2025 Hajj has been set at 62,000 Ghana cedis, which is equivalent to $4,130.
However, Alhaji Collins Dauda also disclosed that the previous administration left behind an outstanding debt of $5 million, assuring that the NDC administration is working to tackle other challenges ahead of this year's pilgrimage.
The task force has discovered that the previous board left a debt of $5,409,526.66 United States dollars. President Mahama wishes to assure Muslims in Ghana that he will do everything to make programs of Ghana very comfortable.
The Ghana Hajj Agents Association, speaking at the sidelines of the press briefing, commended the government for the fare reduction, noting that it represents a significant boost for the Muslim Ummah.
The class of people who go are the middle and the lower class. You understand? They are the chunk of people who go to Hajj. And the higher class, they are the people who normally pay for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people. So if you look at the price, that means this year somebody can at least pay for 10 people. You understand? That is what we are looking at. But we don't say because Allah said, yes, it's true, Allah said if you can afford. But then you make it affordable for people to be able to embark on that journey. So for us as an association, the more reduction we get in the Hajj fare, the more people we get to go and perform the Hajj. So we are very, very grateful to the government of the day.
Meanwhile, the government will soon announce details for registration, payments, training and preparation guidelines for this year's pilgrimage, which is expected to involve around 5,000 participants.
A president's promise honored, but a move truly appreciated by the Muslim community. GHOne Zuleyha Nuhu visited Fadama and has their reactions.
Interim Hajj Task Force has announced a reduction in Hajj fares from 75,000 to 62,000 Ghana cedis, which is equivalent to $4,130 at an exchange rate of 15 Ghana cedis to $1. We are here in Fadama, a predominantly Muslim community, to find out from these Muslims if this is a welcome news.
I'm really happy to hear this from the government. I'm so happy that inshallah, because of this year I'll be going to Hajj. Because Allah says in Quran, He said, when you Hajj or you go to Umrah, inshallah, fala junah alayhi, you don't have any sin. Okay, when you do Hajj or you go to Umrah, Allah said He has forgiven you your sin. So I'm really happy for what government have done. Inshallah, this year we all be going to Hajj, inshallah.
Price reduction. Those who haven't gotten the chance to, go for the previous years, we get a chance to go this year, inshallah. So I'm also praying to be part of those who will be going this year since the price has been reduced.
I prefer it will come down to 4 or 5. It will be okay. Because the country, we are bankrupt. There's no money in the system. People are crying. That's the reason why we voted for change.
Baby, where they say,
na mishurano onko tunye juman papa misi am pesa me kubia minisike me demako
say 8 years me pese me nko say na skanu ekosro no nti mantimi nko but this year dear nyame nti so me ekọ say skanu aba from bibia ye fine nti me ekọ de o so be ya my no government so waye wala this year dear me dem I sure say aginu me ekọ bi me kan wo bi wallahi.
While others are calling for more reduction, others too are more than grateful. Reporting for GHOne TV, Zuleyha Nuhu.
Under the immediate past MPP administration, Alhaji Abdul Ramad Gomda for a discussion. Alhaji, many thanks for joining us this evening. Let me find out from you on the allegations of the debt of $5 million that you had left behind. How do you respond to this?
Well, thank you for having me. The picture is not a true reflection of what is in the book. The figure is rather 4.759. The collected is $4.80 million, and we inherited a debt of $7.87 million when we took over in 2016. Let me repeat. We inherited a debt of $7.87 million. And what the immediate past board was not the figure being posted. It is below that. It is 4.75. We inherited, I repeat, 7.87.
So you mentioned the figure is about a $1 million short. It's actually $4 million. That's what you're saying.
That is right. And then we inherited 7.87. And I can give you a breakdown of the indebtedness, the details. Now, we also, let me put it on record, that we also inherited 452 pilgrims who paid but who couldn't make the trip to Saudi Arabia. I repeat, we also inherited 462 prospective pilgrims who couldn't make it to Saudi Arabia. Now, these 452 were airlifted. We didn't, the money they paid could not be accounted for. I'm putting this also on record. We airlifted them. They paid to the previous administration, the previous board, but couldn't make it. We airlifted them. This is what.
So the debt is $4 million and not $5 million, and you inherited 452 who were airlifted. Their monies couldn't be accounted for. We do appreciate your clarity on this particular matter. Thanks for speaking with us here on News Tonight. It's now time for us to do the latest in our world of business. West Africa's economic growth remains constrained by rising inflation, high interest rates, and persistent currency depreciation, creating a challenging environment for investors and businesses alike. According to Deloitte's 2024 Economic Outlook report, the region's two largest economies, Nigeria and Ghana, have been particularly affected. Currency volatility has weakened their ability to import essential raw materials and equipment needed to sustain industrial production. The report indicates that in the first half of 2024, the Nigerian naira depreciated by over 40% against the US dollar, while the Ghana cedi lost more than 20% of its value. Looking ahead, Ghana's economic conditions are expected to improve in 2025, driven by ease in inflation and decline in interest rates, which could boost business confidence and investment. Away from the tougher economic matters to agric, and here the General Agricultural Workers Union GHOne has called on the government and the minister responsible for the sector to ensure the inclusion of its members, then again on the agricultural sector boards, to champion the welfare of agric workers. He spoke to GHOne TV in the past, that's the Deputy General Secretary Dr. Pascal Agyabeng, and he was stressing the union's exclusion from these boards, which has left critical concerns of its members unaddressed, undermining their efforts which could help enhance the sector's development.
It's a need for the union to be consulted and to participate in stakeholder engagement of the ministry. That need is very important. For instance, why should we have an agricultural development bank that is supposed to service farmers, and the biggest union is not represented there? We don't have a representation in the agricultural development bank. Meanwhile, we are the mouthpiece of farmers, and we are the mouthpiece of agricultural workers, and we are not there. So how do we then come out with recommendations that ensure that the bank gives the kind of loans they have to give for it to prioritize agriculture? Currently, agricultural development bank gives more loans to the service and industrial sector than they give to agriculture. Meanwhile, the bank is an agriculture bank. It is because the people who are sitting there are not representing that constituent. But if someone who represents that constituency is there, the fellow will be talking for the constituent. So GHOne, basically, we are supposed to play a stakeholder engagement role, and we are supposed to play an advocacy role to ensure that the things which the farmers and the workers within the agriculture value chain want done by government is done.
So watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. After this break, we have sports and more for you. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break, and the man Benjamin Yamwa joins me now to bring us up to speed on hopefully not just CR7 Champion 40 today.
I don't know why there's so much buzz around the CR7 birthday today, but hey, I've got news on the IGP who today met with the GF officials on the passing or the death of a Kotoko fan over the weekend. I have details of that and many more in sports, but that will be after this. The Ghana Police Service has arrested 2 additional suspects in connection with the murder of Kotoko supporter Francis Yao-Frimpong, aka Nana Pole. That IGP of Ghana, Dr. Dampare, revealed that the police have mounted a manhunt for additional suspects, including a female accomplice. The IGP announced these at an emergency meeting with the GFA and Kotoko management here in Accra.
Francis Yao-Frimpong, aka Nana Pole, met his untimely death during a Ghana Premier League match against Inswatreman FC on Sunday. The meeting, at the instance of the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufudampare, discussed measures to prevent future violence. In attendance were key football stakeholders, including representatives of GFA, Galka, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko Management Board.
Football, apart from its commercial aspect of it, is mainly meant to be entertainment. And so when it is Sunday or Saturday or Friday and I invite my family or my friends to go to the stadium to watch game, I'm supposed to go there, enjoy, and come back home. Not to be confronted with hooliganism and to some extent losing life.
We believe that this gathering will not be the first time we have to be gathering this way and be talking about what we have to do in football, especially the challenges we might be facing in terms of security. For this opportunity that I can put that has come to us, we'll use it and address the subsequent situations that we don't want it to happen any longer.
IGP Dr. Ekufudampare expressed deep regret over the tragic incident and assured the public that justice will be served.
We have arrested 2 more persons, bringing the total number of people who have been arrested to 5. And we are currently pursuing a few others, including a female. We will stop at nothing in getting the people involved arrested to face justice. We urge the public and the entirety of the football fraternity in particular to support us in this endeavor, and people to see the situation as a crime which is being investigated and nothing else.
He called for full cooperation from all stakeholders to prevent such occurrences in the future.
To international front now, in about 30 minutes time, Newcastle hosts Arsenal at the St. James Park this evening for the second leg of the English Football League, or the Carabao semi-final game, with Newcastle leading by 2-0 on aggregate against Arsenal. Let's take a listen to the manager of Newcastle, Eddie Howe, speak ahead of this game tonight against Arsenal.
Yeah, I think it's a one-off game. I think it's not. I do think it's a quite unique circumstance. So I think for us, the Premier League takes a back seat. We then move on after this game to the FA Cup. So we will address, of course, a couple of things that we need to improve. But I don't think deep analysis in this moment of time is what we needed. I think it was, right, what do we need now in the next game? And then we'll come back to that at a later date.
And that should be it for our sport. Back to you, my brother, for the rest of the bulletin.
You try to run away from CR7, but it's fine. It's fine. It's normal.
Everyone knows it's his birthday.
It's fine. We'll take it like that. But thanks so much for staying with us throughout the bulletin. This has been News Tonight. My name has been Emmanuel Agyabeng. Palestinians and indeed Arab states, they have rejected Trump's Gaza takeover proposal, and they are saying that they will not allow the rights of their people to be infringed upon. That is according to Mahmoud Abbas. This has been your 60 minutes of comprehensive news here on GHOne TV. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. On behalf of the entire production team, we say thank you for watching and have a good night.